Hey, welcome to ENC 1102. I am your professor, Professor Grieneisen, and I'm really excited to get started in another semester of literature. A little about me: I moved here 21 years ago from Western Pennsylvania, where I was born and raised. I had just received my master's degree in English literature and uh, got a call to come. I applied and got a call to come and teach at what was then called Manatee Community College. This was August of 1999, and so it was before the big Y2K you may have heard about, and I've been here since. And so I've taught this course a number of times. I'm familiar with a lot of the literature, and the hardest selection, or the hardest thing for me to decide each term is what stories and poems to include, because there are so many good ones and um, so much meaning out there. Um, so, a little about me. Being from Pennsylvania, I'm a Steelers fan. So I don't know what kind of season we're going to have this year, but hopefully, we'll have some kind of. If we have a season and we do well in a game, I'll probably post a little yay, something like that. Um, but I like to travel, and so I've one of the things that has been difficult in COVID is not traveling this year, and I had two conferences lined up to present, and one was going to be in Italy, and one was going to be in France, a little ways south of Paris, and so those got canceled, of course. So I saved some money, but didn't get to see those awesome places and meet up with some good friends where we discuss literature and but we've discovered a lot of other things too, and I've gotten a lot of reading done, being sort of self-isolated. A lot more reading than I would have otherwise. So that's I guess you take the good as you can take it, right? So anyway, for this course, so a little about the way I think about literature, and that is that I love literature. I think that it's this creative endeavor by an individual author, and somehow that author conveys information that speaks to us, that makes us feel sympathy and compassion for others, hopefully, that makes us angry at characters that embody these negative qualities. They explore themes that maybe we don't want to explore ourselves, but we can vicariously explore themes through what we can read. And so there's just some fascinating things that literature does for us. And what I like the most about it is that 20 students can come into a story and can find 20 different themes or 20 different ways that the story has meaning. And it's because when we read, we take away from the story what we bring into it. And we all come from different places, and we have different experiences, different values, and we bring those to bear on the story. So what the story means to us is based on what meaning we give it. Now, my goal is to impart some knowledge about how we can read, and how we can get more out of reading. One, you can read at a cursory glance. You can skim through a 12-page story and walk away with some very kind of surface concept about what it's about. But there are literary terminologies that help us explore meaning in much more depth, and ways that are much more meaningful to us, so that a story can change the way we think about something, can change the way we think about war, or can change the way that we think about nature or preservation, or the way that we think about humanity, or something like all these different sort of general thematic elements. It can change the way we think about how we define what a hero is, for instance. These are all things that we can explore through literature. And each so what I want to do is let's go ahead to the class now. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can take a look at the course. And our course will be delivered through Canvas, of course, probably all aware. And So if we go to our Canvas course, you'll see that um, yours won't look maybe exactly like this because this is the professor's side of things. But if you go down, you will find that I have scheduled a course, and it's an accelerated course, so we go fast here. And I've scheduled the 8 weeks of the accelerated course in chronological order, week by week. You'll notice that we have 3 genres that we discuss: poetry, fiction, and drama. And so we devote 2 weeks, a little over 2 perhaps, to each genre that fits in an 8-week cycle. And the first week, you notice, look at how all these things here: general writing and research, writing literary, like anything with a paperclip icon is a document. And here is assignments: the research paper fiction, research paper poetry. I'm going to talk about these in just a minute. MLA, you want to familiarize yourself with MLA, Modern Language Association. This is a stylistic guideline that determines how you quote material in your paper, and it also determines how you format the paper, what the paper looks like, okay? MLA is what we use. If you have used APA or Turabian or some other type of resource, I mean, citation styles are really about using the directory, right? You don't typically memorize how to, what to put in the parentheses after a quote in a paper. You don't typically memorize what that is. But if you learned how to use APA now, you need to learn how to use MLA. MLA is the standard for humanities and literature. For literature, we use MLA. So make sure to familiarize yourself with it. I can talk about it a little bit at a later point, but make sure to familiarize yourself with MLA, and that when you do your research paper, research project will utilize MLA, okay? The grading criteria checklist. Now, these little icons with the discussion, little thought balloons here, these are assignments. So for week 1, introduce yourself, fiction paper or poetry analysis. This is where I would like you to identify, and now don't hold you to this, but I would like you to identify whether you think you will do the fiction paper or the poetry analysis. So to answer a question that comes up frequently, we do 1 research project. We have 8 weeks. We don't have time to be doing multiple research projects. So select either the fiction or the poetry. Now I'm going to show you something about that. Now, some people like fiction better. Some people like poetry better. If you have a preference for one, pick that one. That's fine. I'd like you to put a note here. If you change your mind after that, please just drop me a line. Let me know. I don't deny a request to do that, but I do like to know, because it helps me to time out how much time I need to devote to grading these things, because they're pretty in depth, you know, and it's pretty labor intensive grading research projects for we professors. Discussion board posts. You're going to have one of these a week. You're going to do a discussion board post, which will be based on 1 or more of the the reading assignments for the week. And then you'll have a quiz. These are timed quizzes that are designed to test basic knowledge. They're not really interpretive or analytical, but they test on the big details. Did you read the story? This is what we want to know, right? So the discussion questions will not ask you about every single story we read, but you go through the reading assignments and you should read and be familiar with all the stories, because you should know. The test is not determined, and quizzes don't determine the entirety of knowledge. They are a random sampling that you should know. You should know this much stuff, and I'm going to randomly sample little pieces to see that you do. Okay, so don't try to read for this question. Read the material, and you will have certain questions that are plucked out of that material. Okay, so on to week 2, a mini lecture on theme, mini lecture on symbolism, discussion board post number 2, another quiz, and boom, the fiction exam. Look at that. End of week 2. That's how fast it goes. This is an exam on only the fiction section. It will be terminology, will be other things related to fiction, related to the reading assignments. Week 3, we are transitioning into the genre of poetry. You will get, if you do the fiction paper will be due September the 6th. Why? Because we finished the fiction section at that point. So you should be able to finish the fiction paper and post it at the end of the 3rd week. You have 2 full weeks of reading it, and then hopefully you start working on the fiction paper in week 2 and bring it to conclusion week 3. You get a poetry lecture, a lecture on figures of speech, another poetry lecture here, and then a discussion board, and then a quiz on the Raven. All right, week 4, discussion board post 4, quiz 4, poetry exam. Boom. Exam number 2 is done in the 4th week. All right. Week 5, at the end of week 5, if you do the research, the poetry paper for your research project, drop it here. Only if you do not submit a fiction paper. Do not submit both. I will grade only 1. All right. So lecture number 5 and lecture number 6, because you'll be finishing this off, a little break from discussion board and post. And then we're back in week 6, discussion board post number 5 on Henrik Ibsen and quiz number 5 on Ibsen's The Dollhouse. And then week 7 to 8. And I combined these because of the compressed time. We're not fully 8 weeks. We're a little shy of 8 weeks because of when the grades are due. And so I have to kind of scrunch these together. All right. So quiz 6 on Death of a Salesman, and then a drama exam. And note that this is due on Thursday. It's not going to be Sunday, typically week by week, Sunday to Sunday. Boom. Week 1, I do the assignments Monday, and it goes all the way to Sunday. All right.